work. He was just a few turns away from home with his 3 kids waiting inside when an SUV cut him off and 2 men would get out armed with weapons. And moments later, Joe was gone. He was the 3rd tow truck operator to be killed in Durban that month. Stories like Joe's barely make the headlines nowadays, but behind them lies an underworld that most South Africans don't even think exists. An underworld built around tow trucks. So then, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about the dangerous world of
What do you do, so boy? Is Astro. That's the money falling on the floor. Other than that, we're just riding the wave. Yeah, I'll be watching Mafia Industry towing. It's about towing business. You know what's funny, John? I almost got towed. I got towed for the first and last time. So it was my first and last time I got towed. And they took my car to pay 2K, which was like, by the time it was like my whole flipping salad. Cool. Other than that, I'm like, yay. I wish I could start I'm going to start the business. So I'm thinking, I just saw a video in the title. So we're gonna see what it's all about. Watch and learn. Is it still safe for me to enter the business of towing or not?
PMD offers third-party car insurance that you can trust from as little as 167 Rand per month. Legally in South Africa, a license, a tow truck, and a PDP. A taxi driver could become a tow truck tomorrow.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it.
A quiet Sunday night in Durban, tow truck driver Joe Naicker pulled into his streets after a long day. He was just a few turns away from home with his 3 kids waiting inside when an SUV cut him off and 2 men would get out armed with weapons. And moments later, Joe was gone. He was the 3rd tow truck operator to be killed in Durban that month. Stories like Joe's barely make the headlines nowadays, but behind them lies an underworld that most South Africans don't even think exists. An underworld built around tow trucks. So then, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about the dangerous world of the South African towing industry and discover how and why it became criminalized and what that criminalization means for regular road users like you and me. But wait, before we get into the video, there's a quick message for you. If you're sitting at home right now with a skill or competency but no work, or you own a contracting or service-based business and employees just kind of disappear as quickly as you hire them, there's a fix for that. It's called Juluka Works. The site built so that skilled people can actually find work and employers can actually connect to skilled individuals who are eager and competent enough to get the job done. If you're looking for a job, you just go onto julukaworks.co.za. You make a profile showing off all of your qualifications and competencies, whether you're a plumber, an electrician, a welder, or a machinery operator, whatever it is. You make a profile on Juluka Works and jobs come to you, or you look for jobs posted by employers. And if you're the one hiring, if you're the employer yourself, you can find properly vetted workers who are eager and ready to work, and not people who are just going to come into your job site, steal your tools, and then disappear afterwards. And like I said in my previous video, these are guys who actually care about creating opportunities for skilled South African individuals and creating an environment where those skilled South Africans can have access to employers and contractors who actually need them. So please go check out julukaworks.co.za if you are looking for a job or you're looking to hire and support the people who support the channel. Now, back to the video. There are actually two sides to the towing and recovery industry, and it's well, you know, towing and recovery. Towing is the act of moving a vehicle from one place to another using a tow truck simply because it can't move under its own power. Now, this may be because of stuff like a dead battery, flat tires, or just any other type of mechanical failure. And depending on the type of tow truck used to transport that vehicle from point A to point B, it can either be lifted onto the back of the truck or it can just be pulled to wherever it needs to go. And there are mainly, generally, I'd say like three types of tow trucks. There are flatbeds, which these are the ones that load cars into the back of them. There are wheel lift tow trucks. These are the ones that we're most used to. These are normal buggies with hydraulic arms on the back of them that enable them to be able to lift the front or rear axles of the vehicle off the ground so that it can be transported to wherever it needs to go. These are what we think of mostly when we think of tow trucks. And finally, there are integrated tow trucks. These are similar to the buggy-based wheel lift tow trucks. It's just that these ones are built for more heavy-duty work, for transporting stuff like buses and trucks, and they are normally based on trucks themselves. These are the ones that you normally see in South Africa specifically. You normally see them based on some kind of American truck like a Peterbilt or a Kenworth, and are used to transport wrecked heavy vehicles, I should say. And all these types of tow trucks serve a wide range of functions. In South Africa specifically, they are used to get crashed or damaged vehicles off the road and into storage facilities. They're used to impound cars that are violating some things like parking regulations, or whenever police actually want to impound a car, they'll call a tow truck to take it away. Or they're used to repossess cars that owners have defaulted on and that the banks want back, something we have talked about extensively on this channel. All of this makes for a highly profitable business with lucrative private and public sector contracting as well as emergency response jobs, just bringing in a lot of money. And I'm sure you're asking yourself, where do I sign up? Well, in order to start your own towing business, all you need is a license, a PDP, and a tow truck. That's it. That is all you need to start towing legally in South Africa. A license, a tow truck, and a PDP. A taxi driver could become a tow truck tomorrow if you wanted to. That's how low the barrier to entry to this industry is. So this is a highly profitable business with a relatively low barrier to entry. I mean, tow trucks are kind of expensive. They're really expensive. They are like full-blown buggies with specialized equipment on the back of them, so they're not going to be cheap. But all you need is a license and a PDP, so it's low barriers to entry. You're probably starting to Google how much a tow truck and a PDP cost right now because you're looking into this business. But there might be something you want to consider before you think about getting into this business. You see, as well as the towing industry being relatively low barrier to entry, it is also unregulated in this country. It's very unregulated. Like I said, like anyone can just decide to get a PDP and a tow truck and start towing on our roads. There's not much regulatory red tape to stop you from getting into the industry. The problem is that when you have a highly profitable industry with little to no regulation, you create an environment not only open to blatant customer exploitation, extortion, and toxic competition, but also open to the dark world of organized crime. Towing is like tenders in this country. It's a very good way for organized crime syndicates to kind of just print money. They can use the same tactics that they use for the tender system, tactics like bribery, tactics like corruption, tactics like intimidation to get public and private sector tenders or contracts, I should say, not tenders. We're not talking about the tender system. Already made a video about that. But they use those tactics to get contracts for stuff like bank repossessions and police impounding. And because organized crime groups tend to not be bound by such trivial things as, you know, law and fair business practice, they can use these tactics to monopolize towing in a specific area. And if you've ever played Monopoly, you know how it works. Once a monopoly is established, they can control the prices of everything. They can control the prices of contracts. They can control the prices that normal road users like you and me pay for recovery in order to milk companies and us as regular road users of as much money as possible. As I always say, correlation doesn't equal causation, but if it works like a mafia and it eliminates competitors and strategically monopolizes an entire business sector like a mafia, it's probably a mafia, I would say. And because of how unregulated and highly profitable the towing business is, can be a great vehicle with which you can launder all of your proceedings and all of your profits from such activities as chopping fingers and snapping kneecaps. It's very easy to explain away a large and frankly unusual amount of money flowing into your towing business on just increased towing frequency and getting more contracts instead of the actual truth, the aforementioned finger chopping and kneecap snapping. Tow trucks also have a lot of access to restricted areas that these criminal networks want to have access to. Areas like police impound lots, for example. Tow trucks also just kind of blend in really easily into normal traffic and are great for surveilling a certain area, because if you see a tow truck driving around a certain area, you don't suspect it because it just looks like a tow truck looking for work or generally just driving around. You don't think that those might be people actually looking at you and tracking you. And another benefit that can be derived from just how low-key and discreet these tow trucks are is that they are great for transporting illegal stuff like your drugs, your guns, your ammo, the works, because of just how discreet they are. Police don't even register tow trucks, I feel like. They don't think about tow trucks as a potential vehicle used to transport drugs and such. You just kind of associate them with being vultures. We'll get into that a bit later on. That stereotype isn't necessary, but it's relatively true, but we'll get into that a bit later on. Let's just move on from that. And besides their optics, tow trucks are just also functionally great for these criminal syndicates because they can be used to transport stuff like stolen vehicles or just used to steal vehicles straight up under the guise of repossession. I mean, imagine getting your car towed away thinking that it was because you didn't pay a parking ticket, not knowing that it is about to become an immigrant of the beautiful state of Mozambique via a river in Limpopo. This is truly sad stuff. And similar to the taxi industry, the towing industry in South Africa has a lot of territorial disputes or turf wars, which might be because both these sectors are deeply intertwined with organized crime. These territorial disputes manifest themselves in just excessive amounts of violence, with drive-by shootings and assassinations being all too common in this world. I mean, it's so bad that some tow truck drivers actually employ gang members for not only protection against other tow truck companies or opposition, but also for intimidation tactics to get money or to extort money out of customers. Police corruption also play a major role in the perpetuation of the violent underbelly of this industry. Raids and searches of towing businesses would sometimes reveal entire control rooms that utilize police communication equipment. This includes two-way and handheld radios that can be used to intercept police and general just emergency communications so that the towing company knows exactly when and where a crash has happened. These would have either been stolen from police stations or just kind of rented out to tow truck operators by policemen themselves. I mean, this industry has become so corrupt that it is literally working with South African law enforcement to enrich itself. The consequences of how criminalized the South African towing industry have become stretch far further than just a few missing police radios, because not only do road users get exploited and taken advantage of, the entire industry itself gets undermined and becomes kind of impossible to prosper in without being corrupt yourself to some extent. 10 years ago, in Berea, Johannesburg, owner of Jumbo's Towing and Breakdown, Aldaf Darwood, was shot dead after a road accident in what seemed to be a territorial dispute. 8 years ago, in Stellenbosch, 2 tow truck drivers were shot and killed in consecutive days due to their alleged involvement in gangs. 3 years ago, in Maitland, Cape Town, tow truck driver Adib Groenemeyer and his girlfriend were shot dead in his truck in what seemed to be a turf war related escalated situation. Now, these are far from the only incident showcasing just how dangerous these territorial disputes in this industry can become, but I think they do a good job at encompassing just how dangerous towing in South Africa can be. And the infiltration of organized crime into this industry means that honest operators have to resort to borrowing money from informal lenders like your loan sharks and the criminal networks themselves just to stay afloat. And the only reason why they need to borrow money in the first place is the monopoly that we've already talked about, these organized crime groups establishing in an area on this business once they get a foothold on it. And obviously borrowing money from loan sharks and criminal networks is kind of like trying to fill a bottomless bucket, because once you start trying to pay them back, you end up getting extorted and kind of forced into or intimidated into predatory partnerships or just full-on hostile takeovers of your entire business. You give them an inch, they don't take a mile, they take a few thousand miles. And sometimes small operators have no choice but to partner with these criminal networks for stuff like physical protection, because we've seen just how treacherous this business can be, or to get access to more territory and better contracts, because, you know, they are kind of the people who control all of that. Either you try and most definitely fail to beat them, or you join them and, you know, try to have even the opportunity to get the smallest slice of the cake. And on top of how difficult these networks make it to own and run a towing business in this country, they also make it very difficult to own and drive a vehicle on South African roads. Something that you would be very familiar with, especially if you live in busy metros like Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town, stuff like that, is how reckless tow truck drivers can be on the roads. They can sometimes be seen just speeding way too much in a congested area, ignoring traffic lights and just general road signs, and, you know, exhibiting a general blatant disregard for the safety of South African road users. Well, the truth is they drive like this because that's just the nature of the business. As soon as these guys get a tip-off, they have to rush to be the first ones to arrive on the scene of their accident, because if they are not the first ones to arrive, they might not get to eat anything for the rest of the week. The stakes are really high, and they only get higher when you consider the fact that there are also these criminal syndicates operating within the industry, people who have access to police scanners and an unfair advantage in terms of getting to accidents. First, it's really difficult to try and survive in this business without being reckless to a certain extent. And this fight for survival not only puts the lives of the drivers themselves, the tow truck drivers themselves, in danger, but also endangers the lives of innocent South Africans just trying to get from point A to point B. The harsh reality of this situation is that two things can be true at once, and this is why earlier I said that, you know, there's a bit more nuance to the vulture stereotype. Two things can be true at once, guys. These are guys who are desperately fighting to provide for their families and make a living, yes. But these are also people who pose a grave danger to, you know, South African road users as a whole. And now that we've talked about the real consequences of this business, which is just the danger to life, let's talk about the other consequences of this business being criminalized, the ones that hit your wallet. According to the South African Motor Body Repairs Association, a lot of towing companies take advantage of customers in need of their services. There have been multiple instances of towing operators lying about being an approved towing partner of a victim's insurance company, some going to the extent of even faking a call with the insurance company just to kind of convince the customer that they are an approved service provider. Once the victim is convinced, the car gets towed away and put in a storage facility, and then they proceed to get kind of scammed and extorted out of thousands and thousands of rands, just like insane amounts of money that they have to pay for that towing and storage that the insurance is obviously not going to cover because the company wasn't approved in the first place. Operators have also been reported to especially take advantage of drunk drivers on the road who crash their vehicles, making them sign predatory agreements that they'll only realize are predatory when they come to collect their car. I mean, if you crashed while being drunk behind the wheel, The first thing that you think about when a towing company comes, usually even before the police do, to tow your car away is not, let me read the fine print so that I agree with the terms of this agreement. You just want your car to get out of there as soon as possible, for the incident to be swept under the rug as soon as possible. So you're not going to read a lot of the agreement, you're just going to sign to get the car taken away, and then you are surprised when you get charged thousands of rands when you come to get your car released. One drunk driver from Johannesburg had his car towed away after he wrecked it while, driving drunk. That's usually what happens when you drive drunk. When the towing company pulled up to the scene, they took advantage of his inebriated state and made him sign an agreement that he obviously did not thoroughly read or even understand. Then they towed his car 6 kilometers away to a storage facility and then proceeded to charge him 8,000 rands for towing his car 6 kilometers and storing it for 2 days. So not only do these companies put your life in danger by driving recklessly to get to accident site, they also take advantage of you if you're the one unfortunate enough to be involved in the accident yourself. They use malicious tactics to get you to sign predatory agreements that you might get financially ruined by in the foreseeable future. Now, of course, there are honest operators out there just trying to make a living and help road users in need, but unfortunately these guys do just represent the minority, and you need to learn how to defend yourself against the majority who will try to exploit you as much as possible. Now, since regulation of this industry is still a far ways away, the first thing that we can do is learn how to defend ourselves so that we don't find ourselves in situations where we're getting exploited by these companies. First off, don't sign up to an operator who does not have their name and address clearly displayed on their vehicle. And even if they have their address clearly displayed on the vehicle, check the address on the agreement as well. Make sure that it matches, just to make sure that they're as legitimate as possible. Make sure that these people are accredited before trusting them with your pride and joy. If these kind of operators approach you, operators with kind of like buggies with hydraulic booms strapped to the back of them, make sure that you swiftly decline their offer to tow your vehicle and call your insurer to get your approved towing service to tow your car away so that you don't have to pay. Well, you're going to pay in premiums, but you wrecked your car. Your premiums are already horrible at this point, so it doesn't really matter. Just call your approved provider to come and tow your car away, and make sure that you thoroughly go through any towing agreement that you are given if you have no other choice. Yeah, well, even if you're using your approved towing provider, just make sure you understand anything you sign. Like, I think that's a generally just good piece of advice for life. Just never sign something that you don't fully understand. Take the time to go through the entire agreement that you're given. Make sure that you read the fine print, you understand how much this is going to cost before you sign your car over. But like, just to avoid a lot of things, guys, I'm just gonna go back to a point that I made earlier, is that just know your insurance approved provider. Have those people in your contact so that you don't have any problems. So that you're not sitting there telling people that, no, don't tow my car away. I'm gonna Google now the name of the people who are supposed to tow my car away. I'm gonna call my insurance now so that they can give me the people that are supposed to tow my car away. Be able to call them directly in case of an emergency so that you don't risk just getting rushed into predatory agreements. These guys, once you tell them that, hey, I'm still going to call my insurance, they're going to find ways to use this time crunch against you. Like, to use the amount of time that you're using to call the insurer and going through all of that back and forth. They're going to find a way to use that against you and eventually get you to use their towing service. So make sure that you know your approved provider, you have them in your contacts, and you contact them first thing when you're involved in a crash. You know, if you're still breathing, that is, you don't have much control if you die in an accident, obviously, but if you're alive in an accident, make sure that you phone your approved provider. Jeez, that was a dark joke. I don't know why that just went so dark there. That's just how my brain works. Anyway, and if you're calling your insurance company to find your approved towing provider, make sure that you're the one calling your insurance provider and you're calling them directly on the number that you're used to calling them on. Don't fall into this trap of letting the towing operator call your insurance, because those people, like I said before, they can fake calls with your insurance provider and pretend as if they're approved even though they're not. So make sure that you don't get any insurance number from them. First of all, have your own numbers that you know are legit, and number two, make sure that you're the one calling them and finding your certified provider. But just people, that is it for the video. That is the entire truth about the South African towing industry. Please comment down below if you are involved in the towing industry and you want to provide some insights into it, or you want to tell us a story about it. If you're involved in the industry in any type of way, please comment down below. Say something. If I got something wrong, say that. If I got something right, say that. Then thank you guys so much for watching. This was a really interesting one to research, because this is not really one that I went into knowing at all. I kind of just went into it to research just towing and to discover why these guys are always like speeding around. I didn't expect to uncover the criminal underworld behind this entire world. So that was really interesting to learn about how just organized crime just is seemingly infiltrating every aspect of South African business, it seems like, allegedly. Once again, I do not want to go to jail or lose my life because of a YouTube video. So allegedly in Minecraft, all of that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Look forward to your discourse down below, and we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So click the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you are subscribed, make sure you click the bell notification button so that you are notified anytime that we make an upload. We are trying to also run up our membership numbers, and we have dropped our first vlog on the memberships, one that you would have seen in the community post, and I'm working on the second vlog right now that's going to go live this Saturday. So join if you are interested in the vlog journey and the behind the scenes of the channel. And lastly, please go check out Juluka Works, guys. Go check out Juluka Works. Support the people who support the channel, because your support might land you a work opportunity as well. So yeah, please go check them out. But until the next one, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. If you watched, you better get smarter through me. But besides that, if you know why you watch this video, it's all about business. But yeah, being in this country of South Africa, you gotta know your story. You gotta know how to be protected, otherwise be prepared to lose your life. It's a lot of business or a child kid. A lot of business, as I'm geeking, it is what it is. Let's go.